But what really surprised me was a state like Maine, and I believe the other one was Montana. Now, Maine has 4 electoral votes, which Biden won, but 3 of them went to Biden, and 1 of them went to Trump.
Yeah, yeah.
That to me is, I think, either a problem or the solution to Electoral College. Because it's like, okay, if you're going to have it split, three to one to the other, because I believe Biden won 60% of Maine.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me that he would get 3 and Trump would get 1. But if not all 50 states are doing that, it doesn't make sense to me. Because it's like, well, what's the point of what's the point of the people actually voting then if the electorate's going to do whatever the hell they want?
Well, again, it's a balance. They don't necessarily do what they want, because if they did, they wouldn't get reelected.
Right.
It's more to do with the fact that to represent the amount of people there. It's the same point that we brought up earlier. It's like, okay, you've got, 2 counties that are solid blue, everywhere else is red, yet that whole state is based off of those 2 counties. Well, that's not a very good regional representation of your state, is it?
Mm-hmm.
The policies, that are going to affect those 2 counties that might be somewhat beneficial may be detrimental to all the other counties around them, but just because you have a majority vote, you want to give it to them? No, you need to sort of calibrate and understand the people around you. So that, I'm not opposed to that. It makes everything a lot harder, just on a campaigning sort of basis, because it's like, okay, now you're not even campaigning for states, you're campaigning counties.
Yeah, it's a little more micro.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
rather than
if you took a state like Pennsylvania, it's 20 electoral votes. Biden won 49.8%, Trump 49.1%. So arguably, they should each get 10 and 10.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see why that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why isn't that? Why isn't that a system? Is it because it just makes campaigning that much harder?
No, it's a states' rights thing. Most of the time, it's like their state legislature is, if you win the popular vote, you get all of our electoral votes.
See, normally I'm a big thing about states' rights, but when it comes to a national election, I think that is more important, more powerful than states' rights. That should be a national law.
No, because that's corrupt. Because now you're doing what Trump is doing, is you're telling people how to vote. I would let the people of each state determine how they should vote, because they're going to know better than you.
That's fair. That's a fair argument for the people and for each individual state as its own individual. But if you want a fair national election for both sides,
yeah,
I think that's the better way to do it. Because then every vote actually matters, and everyone the people themselves have a bigger voice that way.
Not necessarily. You're diminishing a voice somewhere.
No, I mean, because okay, all of upstate New York is a wasted vote. They might as well not vote. It doesn't matter. But if you split it, let's take a look at New York. Let's look at the map for New York.
All right, but that's a momentary thing.
Right, 55% went to Biden, 43% went to Trump for a 29 electoral votes. I would give 26 to Biden, 3 to Trump.
Yeah, but see, you're looking at it in terms of one election.
Okay, we'll go back to all the elections then.
They're not always based entirely off of the metropolitan vote. They're not always like that.
All right, give me a state then. Let's go to
Yeah, I know, but you're doing it based off of this one election. If you go back to other elections, you're not going to see every metropolitan area is always different. Some of them agree sometimes, some of them disagree. Your formula only helps in this one circumstance. Sort of. Debatably helps.
I guess I have to pull up another election, test that theory then.
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
This is only an hour show, Nash. We're talking about one election here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a system that's designed around, okay, each state. Everybody's going to know everything better in that state because you live there and have to deal with it. So they're going to come up with the solutions that make the most sense to them. And they're all going to have the same standardized thing for that area.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense, because the second anybody in the federal government tries to say, no, this is how we're going to standardize the whole thing, okay, you're corrupt. You're the most corrupt person ever for coming here and trying to change how we vote. Does it sound familiar?
And it's in our state constitution. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I see your point.
Because somebody from the federal government can't tell you how to vote, or else they're trying to rig it because they know they can win. Like that's the only reason you'd want to stand.
Well, people think the Electoral College is rigged so the Republicans can win.
It's not. It's the current political layout that we have.
Okay. All right. I can't. Nash, as it typically is, I can't prove you wrong.
Well, it's like you have metropolitan areas that are largely inconsiderate of rural areas, and you have rural areas that are inconsiderate of metropolitan areas.
Yeah.